Hey guys, a very happy new year to all of you. This is Bodhi, and as promised, I'm starting our very own YouTube channel from this year. That is the official channel of the Bodhisattva Trio, and we're going to be uploading new content every week discussing our music, our projects, our plans, guitars, bass, drums, life, the piano, life, the universe, and everything, gear, and all of that. And today, after talking to a lot of people, and I had posted an online like an opinion poll, and everybody said that please do it, and that's why I'm starting our channel like this. So the topic for today is how to get a big and pro sound out of a BOSS GT10. That's right, this old and faithful BOSS GT10. And so now, with the cutting edge technology that you have, with the amazing development in the world of gear, you have things like Kemper, XFX, Line 6 Helix, Headrush, and all of that, really, Strymon Iridium, and the list goes on. And all of that thing with advanced, IRs and all of that. So I'm going to definitely get an upgrade very soon. And because I don't have one of those, because I invested a lot of, of my money on these pedals, on my analog gear. And so we're going to be discussing my analog pedal board in another episode, obviously. But for now, it is this workhorse that I'm going to discuss. And I owned it for around 10 years. I think it came out in 2008, 2009. And it's amazing. It's a solid, as you can see, a solid piece of gear. Very reliable, built like a tank. And in these 10 years, out of the countless gigs I've played and the countless recording sessions I've been into, this one has never, ever let me down. So the demonstration today is just how to use this GT10, no amps, no nothing. I'm using this Fender Player Series Stratocaster, single humbucker. And I'm using, good cables. Guys, always use really good cables. Spend your money on them. I'm using this Ernie ball cable. And then from here, I'm using two low noise outputs from my left and right onto my DAW, onto my sound card, which is a Steinberg UR22. And my sound card, it goes into my computer with my DAW. So, before anything, I just like to say just a few things about the GT10. What I'm doing right now is you go to this thing, set your output level and etc. blah blah blah. So output select should be on this line phones. So that means you're not connecting to any amplifier, you're not connecting to a stack amp, combo amp, anything like that, or a send return. What I mean is just that I'm connecting it to straight front of the house mixer or my sound card, things like that. An all-purpose kind of a foolproof solution. So there are two or three ways I'm going to demonstrate how to get a big sound. And by big, I mean the word width. So, big means, a wider sound, which gives you sort of an illusion of a bigger spectrum than it already is. Rather say not illusion, we'll come to that later. But an overall really wide sound. And by width, we have to really respect and understand one word, and the word is stereo. So I've got left, right over here. And if you're going left, right stereo onto the board, you ask your sound engineer to hard pan your signal. You use two separate channels, one pan hard left, one pan hard right. So one way is that I'm using over here in this patch, which is called a clean chorus, which I was just playing. I use it to play chords and backup and things like that. So over here, I've just gone with a single amp simulation, which over here says BOSS Clean, which is basically like a Roland JC120 kind of an amp. And the stereo-ness of this patch is in the effects section, in the chorus and in the delay mainly. So the chorus is a split stereo chorus and the delay is panned, so you get something like this. So if you have this signal panning from, then you can get kind of like a bigger spectrum. If I put the delay off, you'll see that it's nice, but if you put this on, then so that's how automatically you're getting a bigger, fatter signal. And now I'm going to show you something really interesting, which I've recently discovered actually, not too long back. It's something called a dual LR amp mode, which means that over here, if you just press the preamp section on your GT10, you'll see this amp model, turn left, press your left cursor, and over here, see what's written here, channel mode, dual LR. So that means on my channel A, which is my left, I have an amplifier, and on my channel B, which is the right, I have a separate amplifier. So on my left, I have, I think, a Marshall kind of a thing, Marshall amp simulation. And on my right, I have a Mesa Boogie style modern rectifier. And another thing which I use this patch is called high gain backup. So I use it to play riffs, backup power chords and stuff like that. In with my block band Bhattacharya or any other rock situation, it comes in really handy. And there's this magic button over here, channel delay, is where you set your latency between the left and the right channels. So since I'm playing backup, if you set it to around, like, say 25 or 30 milliseconds, you get something like this. Now that sounds like really evil, and the reason why is that I'm giving, by setting up these dual left-right mode and giving it like a 25 millisecond delay, this is what happens. So it gives you this, now I'm going to use the word illusion. It gives you the illusion of having two guitar players play the same thing, where it simulates the natural human lag, not really so natural, but it still does the job. And so you have an illusion that there are two guitar players who are playing, and one pan hard to the left, one pan hard to the right. And so that's how it... See, there's a certain lag. If I increase the lag, so that's a really, really nice technique, nice technique to use on your GT10. And now another example which I'm going to show you, and I'm going to move to this patch over here, which says high gain lead, which I use for my solos. And over here, I'm not only using the same dual LR technique, where I have like the similar settings, like a Marshall style amplifier on my amp simulation on my left, and a Mesa Boogie style rectifier on my right. Not only that, I'm using two different delays for each channel. You have that option. You go to this delay, you click it, and you press the display mode, and there you see the type. You will see there's this dual LR, where you have independent delay time, delay feedback, high cut delay level. This says D1, so that's on my left, and over here it says D2. So if you notice, I've got here my delay time 1 set to 500 milliseconds, and delay time 2 set to 670 milliseconds. And so this is what happens. See that? And obviously the amp latency, which I just discussed, I've decreased it, obviously, because you don't want to sound like two guitar players when you're playing a solo. So here's what kind of happens. So that's a really cool thing to do. And another thing that I use is I use like three kinds of delays. So if you go here, this patch says clean dual delay. So not only am I using, let's see what I'm using, I forgot myself. So I'm using a pan delay over here, set to, let's say 867 milliseconds over here. So you have this. Let's put that off. And I'm going to this FX2, which is assigned to a sub delay. Over here I've got something on a roughly like a 290, 289 milliseconds. And this is what it sounds like. This is mono, it's coming out. It's first on the chain. I'm going to talk about FX chain just in a bit. And then when I combine these two, that's really useful, no? Especially in a band, you're the only guitar player. It's really, really useful. I've also set the reverb to like a pretty big hall reverb kind of a thing. And before we wind up, I'm just going to talk about two things for how to use the GT10. One is that you need to understand what is an FX chain and be very, very careful and very, very meticulous about it. So FX chain means, just like setting up an analog pedal board, what does your guitar go into? Then what does that pedal go into? Blah, blah, blah. What does, what amp it's going to, from the amp it's going where. So if you just press this master pedal switch, and then you go to this FX chain thing, press enter, and there you will see your FX chain. So this is your guitar going into compressor, pedal is off, send return is off, overdrive is off. So preamp A is channel A, I'm putting channel A. This is one amp over here. The noise suppressor, and from the amp it's going into this EQ. And over here, guys, if you really want to sound pro with your GT10, you have to really fiddle around and explore this EQ button. It can give you wonders. It can, depending on your taste, it can really, really help you. So that's where by tweaking the parameters on this feature, you can actually get a very, very wide range of sounds, range of tones, and it can actually get you to sound very professional, if you know what I mean. Anyway, in the FX chain, now it goes to the EQ, then it goes to an FX1, which is bypassed at the moment. It goes to foot volume. So the volume is coming after the volume, the pedal over here is coming after all of this, which means that my delays and my reverb are unaffected by it. See, the delay is still going. If I put the foot volume after all this, then it will take the delays out as well. So it's the best thing to do is to put your volume pedal in between your amp and your FX section. I think that's the best way to go about it. Then after that I have FX2, which is your sub delay. Then I'm going to the chorus, and then I'm going to the main delay, and then I'm going to the reverb, which is why I'm getting this kind of a thing. So that's it for now. I hope that was a helpful thing that I did, helpful demonstration. If you have any kind of queries, anything that I've missed out, please mention in the comments below. And obviously don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. So this is going to be the first of many, many more to come. Next week, we're going to do something very interesting with our drummer, Premjit. So stick around. And once again, very, very happy New Year. This is Bodhi signing off from the Bodhisattva Trio.